My name is Adam Havick. I am the lead singer of the band The Won't, and this is More Familiar. Arbiter cartographer sitting on the banks of blank, headed towards the hills of who the hell cares, maybe then we can go home. An arbiter cartographer is quite a mouthful. I am a big video gamer, and when I wrote this song, which was a few years back, I was heavily playing Halo 2, which created a character named the Arbiter. It's a religious figure who is kind of at the forefront of a lot of new discovery, and the cartographer is a map maker. So the Arbiter cartographer was almost a way of saying the avant cartographer, the forward-thinking map maker, naming it, giving it its familiarity, giving it its landmarks, if you will, from starting from a blank slate, which is the banks of blank, which is the next line of the song, which is exactly as I just said. It is the unnamed banks where we are starting our journey, heading towards the hills of who the hell cares, which is, by the time we get to the hills from the banks of the shore, we're maybe a little less excited to be exploring and maybe a little more yearning to just go home, try to go back to where someplace more familiar might be. The chorus of More Familiar: and leave this all behind, and one day I'll arrive someplace more familiar. We'll travel day and night, and one day I'll arrive someplace more familiar, which is expanding on the thoughts of just leave the unfamiliar behind, trying to get someplace more familiar. Sometimes that might be someplace you've already been, sometimes that might be someplace you haven't been, but it becomes familiar anyway because you become comfortable there. Outside your orbit, everything seems distorted, it's distant and just out of reach. But inside you're sleeping, everything keeps repeating, it's distant and just out of reach. The thought behind that was when you dream, I read somewhere that dreams are sometimes replays or redos of what you've been through in your life, in your day-to-day activities. So in your sleep, everything keeps repeating, but again, it's not something you can reach out to or change. It's distant and just out of reach. But it's inside. There's something you left here that's stealing the power. It's inside the connections they need to be severed. That is a reference to what you already have inside that may be stealing the power from, not the power, but stealing your ambition, stealing your energy to move forward when you sometimes yearn to go backwards where it's comfortable and familiar. But we all know that there is more comfort in what we know and less comfort in something that is new and less familiar, which is kind of the push and pull of the song, and somewhere between the character who wants to explore, wants to move forward, but also sometimes gets scared, sometimes needs that familiarity to use as a comfort. These lyrics could apply to the listener to help them feel not alone when you have that fear of what you want, you thought you wanted, or what you know you do want, but it's still scary. Just because you know this is where you want to lead yourself or where you want to try to take your life doesn't mean it's not scary. And sometimes we just have that desire for something familiar and comfortable, even though that might be a step backwards instead of the step forward that we're trying to take.